folks, this is Holly
And Kristy.
from Holly and Kristy Unscripted. Welcome. Today we're recording on March 10th. It's Tuesday. We're recording on our actual scheduled day, which is pretty rare.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so this will be what, 11, 12, 13. Oh, for you guys listening, it'll be Friday 13th.
It will.
I'm glad we're not recording on Friday 13th.
Yeah.
Everybody's
It could be interesting, though.
It could be, yeah. Everybody's been posting on Facebook about this week being terrible because it's, or I guess dynamic, tumultuous maybe, because it started with the time change and then the full moon yesterday and then Friday the 13th. Anyways.
I was talking to a coworker. He was asking what our episode last week was going to be about. And anyways, we were just talking, and I was saying that we had missed a week because you were sick and it just didn't work out timing-wise. And he was like, yo, that would be really good. Like, hopped up on Benadryl doing an episode.
We should do that. Just both drink some Neocitrin as we're doing our show. It's a great idea.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, be all like feverish and clammy and sweaty and forget what you were talking about and then go off in some other direction. I was like, we do that anyway.
We do. We're not feverish and sweaty,
Right.
but we definitely are all over the place. So we just decided to put the mics on because we were talking about some stuff that just, I don't know, it affects both of our lives. And we didn't really have a plan for what we were going to talk about today, but we seemed to be getting pretty engaged in this. And we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to run out of time anyways. So we better put the mics on and keep talking. So do you want to kind of lead us back into where we were?
I'd say, I guess, to put a title on it, I guess, more like spirituality, kind of.
Yeah. Coping mechanisms, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking already, but I was saying that there's a couple of people that I follow on social media. One of them her name is Kristy Swadling, and she's in Australia. And I was saying that she's there's something about her that I don't love, but some of the things that she says is really interesting.
Okay.
And she's a YouTuber and she has Instagram. And her primary focus is health and fitness. She's had a lot of eating disorder issues. She was anorexic and she's kind of coming back from that. So learning to love her body and feeding it properly and all of that stuff. And one of the things that she talked about was, I guess, spirituality, how the universe is there for you. And if you're listening, it will talk to you and guide you.
Yeah.
But if you own a business and you're hustling and you're constantly stressed and you're pushing and pushing and pushing, it's going to butt up against you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work for you because you're trying too hard. But if you just relax and kind of let things flow organically, then it will come naturally.
Yeah.
And then there's another one, Michelle Bro. She took the same holistic nutrition course that I did. She took the 2-year, I took the 1 year. And she's just an incredible human being. I can't say enough about her. She lives in the Valley, but she has her own business, Michelle Bro. I don't know whether, she's kind of changing her focus. She was doing holistic nutrition and coaching people that way, but now she's moving into coaching businesses. Because that's kind of where her business has led her. She feels called to do that more.
Yeah.
But she talks about the same kind of thing. And she said, you know what, the weeks that I schedule all my posts and I force myself to write and I push and push and push are the weeks that I make little to no money. And she said, the other day, I just was sitting in my pajamas. I had a coffee and they went for a drive or whatever. And maybe she wasn't feeling great. She was like, I made $10,000.
Yeah. Sweet.
She was like, so when I relax and listen to what's going on around me and what my mind is telling me and what I want to write and what I want to say and what I want to teach people, that's when I make the money. That's when my business blossoms.
Yeah.
But when I force myself and worry about the money, that's when I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's when I don't make the money
Yeah.
because I'm desperate for it.
Yeah.
So it's
kind of like you block it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not receiving anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting, but then there's the whole like, how the hell do you get to that point where
Well, and that's kind of where this part of our conversation started was, we were talking about your social media presence, which I think is awesome because you're so consistent and so open and honest, right?
Yeah.
And do you mind saying
no,
okay,
no,
so
not at all.
So you were saying something along the lines of like, I feel like you didn't use this word, but you kind of felt like there was inspiration right there, but you weren't sure what it was or where it was leading you, kind of thing. And I feel like that all the time. And it's like when you have a problem that needs a solution, you can feel it. Like it's almost exciting, but it's so stressful because it's like, what are you? And the way I think of it is like, what are you trying to tell me? But it's like the idea that I'm talking to, like, what are you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in terms of God. And earlier I used the word when we were talking before the mic's on, used the word faith and stuff. And I think of that, but I don't think of it in terms of God. I think of it in terms of kind of like what you were saying, that other woman says, like, I don't even like saying the universe, because I feel like that's like a buzz phrase these days.
It's hard kind of to put a name or a word to it. But...
Like, I think a lot of people are using the word source these days. Like, whatever that energy, whatever that something is, it's always telling you something, and if you can just calm your brain to receive it and not be stressed out about things, then you usually get the ideas. But that's so hard, because when you are trying to calm your brain for the sake of getting an idea, it kind of defeats the purpose, because you're not actually calming your brain because you're waiting for the idea to come. It's kind of like that catch-22. You have to do it for the sake of doing it, and then you get the payoff. So anyways, it's hard. And so one of the ones I listen to, and I've shared this with you before, I don't talk about it with many people because I think it's so weird.
Well, and it makes me think of that too. Like when we have any kind of conversation like this, I automatically think of that, because as kooky as it is,
it's kooky.
It's exactly what it is. I love it.
I can't get enough of it. Yeah. So it's Abraham Hicks is the one I listen to. And I watch some other stuff. Like I have Gaia.com, Gaia TV, and there's some really cool things you can watch on there. Anyways, I'll get into that one in a second. But Abraham Hicks. So the deal behind this person, physically, in the physical manifestation of the person who's speaking as a woman. Okay, so this woman's name is Esther Hicks. But like 35 years ago, I think, her and her husband discovered that she was able to channel this group of entities, or this segment of like the ethereal being or something like that. Now, like whether or not you buy into what it is doesn't really matter.
Right.
But this is the story behind it. So she apparently channels this group that called themselves Abraham. And so when you listen to her speak, she is speaking as Abraham, which is actually a plural.
Right.
So she speaks to these audiences, and there's all kinds of, like if you search Abraham Hicks on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of different people who post her things. Like there's not much on Abraham Hicks itself, but there are all kinds of people who post things, and they're very rarely videos of her talking. It's just like, pictures of nature and stuff like that in the background. Anyway, so they, as they refer to themselves, they talk about, so they have these audiences, and one at a time people come up and ask questions about how to deal with things like, how do I manifest more money? How do I manifest a better relationship? It's always about relationships and money, one or the other. And so they're always talking about like the law of attraction. They're always talking about meditation. They're always talking about, they use the word source. So allowing source to just give to you what it knows you want. Because basically, you are part of the greater thing, and the greater thing knows what you want. And there's really no reason you shouldn't have it, because you chose to be here, right? So, and again, I'm not trying to preach any beliefs on my part, but like this is the stuff I like to listen to. I just love it. I can't get enough of it, because I find it really inspiring and actually calming and comforting and energizing. Because whether it's true or not, whether it's some like flaky belief or some like person who's just taking advantage of people for their vulnerabilities and, you know, whatever, I don't really care, because it gives me energy, because it makes me go, you know what, actually, there really is no reason that I can't have everything. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? There's a show on Gaia TV. It's a network kind of like Netflix, only it's all about like the metaphysical and stuff like this, and rewiring your brain and all this stuff. And I love it. And there's one show on there called Mystery Teachings, and the host of it, it's just all her talking. She has a doctorate, she has a PhD in physics, and also she studies different metaphysical, like quantum physics and things like that. So I don't know a lot about this stuff, but basically the idea of quantum physics, to my understanding, is trying to explain the stuff you can't see, like trying to explain the consciousness of the universe, not like the reality of like this couch I'm sitting on, not the reality of my bank account, not the reality of our interactions, but like what is behind and underneath it all, and like the huger, broader perspective that we just can't really grasp. And it's, if you try to watch it, like you have to like listen to every sentence one at a time and then like process it, because it's really big stuff, right? Yeah. It's fascinating. And I don't know where I'm going with that, other than like, it just makes you think that anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. Yeah. If you calm down and receive it.
And the thing that fascinates me about it, like it's with everything, when you stop thinking about it, you stop wanting it, you stop worrying about it, that's when it happens.
That's when it happens.
With it, relationships or getting pregnant or anything like that.
You hear about that all the time. Yes. People trying for years and doing the IVF and everything, and then when they kind of come to a point where they're like, you know what, actually maybe it's just not for us, then boom.
Yeah.
Or they go through the IVF and they, you know, are successful in conceiving and have that child and then get pregnant.
Yes.
Now that they think that, you know.
Or they go through the adoption process and then get pregnant.
Exactly.
Because they're kind of relieved that they're actually at the point where they're going to be parents.
Yeah.
And then they're parents again.
Yeah. And we try to explain this stuff away, but just because we can't understand how it all works.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think everybody kind of has an idea now that like your mind definitely affects your body and you know, diseases and things like that, and stress, because I think we can kind of get a handle, not metaphysically, but actually physiologically, we can get a handle on the fact that there are hormones and steroids that maybe not steroids, but things that your brain creates or produces more of, like cortisol, for example, when you're super stressed. And we know how that reacts to the different cells in your body and how your cells respond and then grow cancer or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We get that. And we get that, you know, maybe if you're, say, for example, a smoker and you're really stressed out and you smoke more, or whatever, we understand.
Or eat more sugar.
Or eat more sugar, or drink more alcohol, or don't exercise enough, or, you know, whatever. We can physiologically see how that affects our cells, but so we're happy to explain that, but we're not quite as willing to accept or open our minds to those things that we can't quite prove.
Yeah.
We need to make it like a tangible thing.
Well, it's like God or anything else, because a lot of people can't imagine there being something like that.
Yeah.
Guiding people.
Which I kind of have a hard time even understanding that. Like, how can you not think that there isn't something? And I don't mean God. I don't mean something looking at you and judging you, or however you perceive God to be. I don't mean it as, but like as a consciousness, as a, like, how the fuck else are we here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If there wasn't something first, and then it goes to like, well, what was before that? How did that get here? And like you could go on and on forever in your brain. I dare you, anybody listening, to watch Mystery Teachings and not just be blown away.
Yeah.
If you can handle it, and not if you can handle it, but if you don't think it's too weird, because it just is mind-boggling, the kind of things she talks about. Her name's Dr. Teresa Bullard. But